The Council of Dads, Episode 2. Um, wow. So, going into this episode, I still had my previous concerns from the first episode. And I gotta be honest with you, it was actually good. I'm surprised. Here's the thing. I'm gonna give you just a real quick. I'm gonna give you the one thing that is a problem, and I'm gonna give you the one. I'm gonna give you the one thing I don't like, and the one thing that I do like. The one thing that I don't like is just a glaring problem from the first episode, or just in general, is that there's too many damn characters. There's too many characters. I literally am only starting to know some of their names. Just some. I think it's probably I can count on maybe one hand. There's so much going on with so many different characters, and it's a lot. It's a lot. It's just a lot of characters, and it's just not something that I'm really used to. And I can't really sit there and think of a show that I watch that they just start focusing on all the characters at one time. Even when I watch like General Hospital, they'll show like 3 segments, but they'll have characters split up so that way you know who the characters are, what their names are, and what's going on. This show, it's a lot. I'm just gonna sit there and say that. But the one thing that I do like, and I know this is gonna sound cheesy, they do actually have some moments that make you smile. Yeah, they have some moments that they actually make, it makes you smile. It's one of those, I'm not gonna sit there, well, I guess it's one of those heartfelt moments where you're just like, okay, I like that. So, good job on that. So, this episode was, it starts off with, the guys or the Council of Dads. Try to call them something shorter. I don't know. COD. COD. I know that stands for something else, but I'm working on it. So the Council of Dads are sitting there talking, and they're trying to figure out schedules and things of that nature, who's going to be doing what with who. And Larry, I'm one of the characters' name, and I remember him because he was the one that was being very strict on the other 2 characters. Particularly the guy who runs the restaurant. About him flaking out twice on the girls, like just going golfing or whatever. I think they were supposed to go golfing, and so he kept flaking out twice, and he was like, "Come on, like what are you doing?" And then the other guy, which I can't remember his name, the black doctor. There was stuff that he was supposed to be doing, and the thing was, it just felt like Larry was being very strict and very stern and very like militant and stuff like that. He might have a military background, who knows? And they just were like, yeah, I got this going on, I got that going on, and it didn't seem like it was really working too well. And Larry was also getting a little upset with Robin, the mother. Surprised I actually remember her name. Because he was very lost on what to do. Like, he needed her input on stuff, and she just was not giving it. And I think the black guy, who I guess was her best friend, was like, listen, she's going through a lot of stuff, don't stress her out. And so that scene ends. There's a lot of stuff that goes on, and I'm pretty sure I didn't get all of it, but I'm just gonna kind of summarize it the best I can. Let's see. I actually took notes. I felt like I was writing a damn book. Took a lot more notes. This is probably the most notes I've ever actually took. Ever. So, okay. I can't remember her name, but the older black girl, their names are going to come to me, and I'm not going to sit there and sound so whatever I'm sounding like now. So the older black girl is moving out with her boyfriend, and I'm kind of having a little bit of issues with her because she seems very wishy-washy. They get to the place, and I think they get to the place, or they get to some place that measures out just like the place they're going to be moving to. And, he's measuring stuff and he's trying to like figure out, where's his stuff going to go, where her stuff going to go, because she has a lot of stuff. And she's just like, yeah, that sounds cool, sorta. I don't know. I'm excited. I don't know. Like, it's like, well, are you excited and are you not excited? Like, what is going on with you? Like, it was kind of frustrating watching her a little bit because she just kept bouncing back and forth. It was like, she was excited, but also she didn't want to go. And you felt like 70% of her just didn't want to go, but like 30% of her, I actually had to do math for a second. 30% of her was like, I'm doing this because I'm kind of excited, but also don't want to ruin, like I don't want to get my husband upset. I don't want to be that person, but you're being that person anyway. She also got, some gifts from her biological mother. And, she talked to her mother, Robin about it. And she was like, I don't know, because, like, I met her once and it was very awkward. And she was trying to explain to me why she couldn't be a mother back then. And I was 9 and I just couldn't process that. And so I don't know how, but I guess she must have reached out to the daughter and was like, let's go on a lunch date or whatever. So the daughter again is very wishy-washy. The mother is standing there, and I guess she's waiting for the daughter to sit down, and she's standing there the entire time. And the daughter gives her back, I guess, these cups or whatever, and the daughter gives back these cups. It's like, well, I don't really want it, and blah blah blah. She's very standoffish towards her bio mom. And so, she gives them back, and then the bio mom is like, listen, you didn't see what's underneath. And she shows her these old pictures of her dad. And, how his hair looked back then and everything like that. And it makes her smile, whatever. And she starts telling some stories. And then, after a while, she sits down or whatever and they talk. And so, I'm not gonna lie, it was kind of an odd scene, but it somehow worked for me because, she wasn't, you can understand where she was coming from to some extent. Her mom actually gave her up and was just like, I don't want to deal with you pretty much. Like, that's her attitude that she's having. So she's like, I'm good. I have a mom and I don't really need you, but, she starts showing her pictures of her dad. She's like, oh, okay, cool. I'm not gonna lie, for any person who lost a parent and can see old memories and old lives and stuff like that, I can't like even begin to process the emotions that brings. So I can understand that. Let's just put it that way. And I'm not gonna start crying. But I can understand that though. So it was actually kind of a nice moment, and it was actually a good scene because it didn't play out like how I expected it to. As a matter of fact, this episode didn't play out like I expected it to. There was a couple of issues or whatever. But yeah, so they sit down, they talk or whatever, and I guess she goes back to her. I keep calling her boyfriend, but her husband. I feel like she treats her more as a boyfriend than a husband. I don't know. So she goes back to her husband's place or whatever, or someplace. And the husband isn't there being all excited, talking about, spacing and closets and stuff like that. And she's like, you know what? I don't really know if I want to move to New York City. And she starts giving all these different reasons and these different lists of reasons of why and stuff like that. And she's like, I think at one point she's like, maybe I want to, no. She started giving all these different reasons of why. And the husband is upset because he's like, I don't know what you want, What do you want? What do you need? You're very wishy-washy. And then that's how he felt like the entire episode. And she was like, listen, I'm grieving and I'm having doubts and, I'm allowed to have doubts and don't yell at me and stuff like that. And he's just like, I'm done. I can't even fucking look at you at this point, So he just goes out for some air or whatever. And at first, at first I was really annoyed with her, with the daughter, whatever. I gotta remember her name, but with the daughter, because again, being with somebody who's very back and forth, wishy washy, it's annoying. You don't know what they're thinking. You don't know what to do. You don't know how to help, and it's annoying. It's just annoying to fucking be with someone like that. Even someone that you love, it's annoying. But I understood, I kind of understood where she was coming from because she doesn't want to hurt his feelings. She's unsure, and everyone has doubts, and plus, she's still fucking grieving. It's a lot to handle, and a big move like that. Everything happens so fast, which is something else that I'm a little kind of annoyed about because, again, they time jumped it so much. Even in the first episode, they time jumped like 4 months, and I'm like, but with that being said, I understood where she was coming from, and I'm gonna kind of do this review kind of like I do my general hospital reviews because it's just easier and it's just so much going on with the show. But towards the end, she talks to her mother, and well, towards the end, there's something that happens. But then the boyfriend or the husband comes in. It's like, listen, I get it. You have doubts. I have doubts too. Let's just stay and let's just make this work or whatever. So they make up or whatever. And she talks to her mother. She's like, listen, I want to stay here. I want to write. I want to write this. I don't want to sit there and write trash. I want to write like actual real stories. So that's what she tells her mother. And then she also invites her bio mom. And then I'm not gonna lie, I'm not gonna spoil it, but this is definitely one of those episodes that I kind of feel like you should watch. I really do. Because there's something that happens, and I'm like, and I hate to sit there and say, but it's granted, this show plays like a soap opera anyway. It's one of those really fucking moments I'm just like, wow, wow. So, alone, you should definitely watch it for that reason. And I know I'm kind of spoiling some of it, so I'm gonna try to not spoil too much of it, and I'm gonna put it in the description anyway. But so the Asian girl is looking for her like bio family. I'm not gonna lie, her character's a little kind of weird. And they kind of explain that a little bit towards the end, but her character's a little kind of weird. So I still feel like you should watch it. I know I'm spoiling it, but I still feel like you should watch it. And I will get kind of better with these reviews, but yeah. So she tracks down she tracks down her cousin, and she tracks down her cousin, whatever. So she takes a bus with a friend to go meet said parents. To go meet said cousin. And I'm not gonna lie, this was just so fucking awkward and uncomfortable because she is a very excited character or whatever. Like she's very excited to meet somebody that's blood relative of her. And the cousin is like, yeah, and granted she's a teenager or whatever, but she's like, yeah, that's cool, whatever, blah blah blah. It's a thing. Like she just doesn't really seem like she's really that into meeting and getting to know her cousin, and her cousin says something along the lines of, oh, so you was adopted too, that's pretty cool. And I didn't even look at the fucking screen. I was just like, I can't believe she said that shit. Oh, this is such an awkward moment. There's a lot, and I'm not gonna lie, I kind of don't want to sit there and make this too long, but there's one point where Robin is having some issues with the Council of Dads and stuff like that. And in the beginning, I'm not going to spoil too much, but in the beginning, there is a quote from one of the guys, one of the councils, one of the CODs. I'll try that, see if that works. One of the CODs. And basically, he's telling the story in the beginning. And then towards the end, he's like, how do we fill the shoes? And I'm like, you pretty much just kind of answered your own question, but I think that is the real central theme of this episode. I'm not actually crying. This is just, I don't know what this is. but that's the central theme of this episode. It's um them trying to fill their friend's shoes, and that's pretty much how this episode goes, and the ups and downs of that. I'll just sit there and say that the ups and downs of that. I mean, there's more to this episode than that, but yes. So yeah, this show, it's I'm not gonna lie, it's I when I first was about to start watching it, I was just like, I don't know, this show. I I partly almost didn't even want to do the review because I was like, what's the point of sitting there reviewing a show that I'm not gonna sit there and watch after this? But I gotta sit there and say, after watching this episode, it did actually have some really good moments that did make me smile, and they did it in a way where it didn't feel like they were trying to mimic A Million Little Things. I gotta sit there and say I was impressed because, you know, the first episode I felt like they were kind of drawing from that crowd, but in this episode they did their own thing, and I gotta be honest with you, it worked. They did their own thing. They had their own heartfelt moments where it didn't feel like they were trying to copy off of another show. I mean, granted, it's one of those heartstring kind of shows, but they did their own thing, and I'm impressed by it. I was genuinely sitting there smiling. I was like, okay, all right, you know. And it wasn't like I was being like a super critic or anything like that, or being harsh or anything like that. It was just like the first episode was just so. Well, I mean, it was what it was. So I really went into this episode thinking that it was going to be exactly like that. And then I had such low expectations that it was like, okay, this is actually, you know. So I got to sit there and say, just in general, I'm going to see where the show goes. I wasn't impressed by the first episode, but I would definitely sit there and say watch the first episode because you kind of actually have to understand what is going on in the second episode. I feel like this is one of those shows where it's like you can't miss too much of a beat, because if you do, you're just not gonna really understand it. Like, I can't sit there and imagine me watching this in the second episode and really kind of grasping this episode and the meaning of the fucking central thesis of this episode. I just couldn't grasp it. I know some people get, but when I look at it, I just don't see it. So, I gotta sit there and say, this show, it's not bad. It's, the first episode wasn't great, but it's the first episode. And with that being said, the show has potential. The show actually has some real potential. I think if they can not rely on, you know, stuff like This Is A Million Little Things, and to some extent This Is Us. I know it's on the same network, so it is what it is, but if they can just kind of do their own thing and kind of keep this pace, it might be able to work. I mean, granted, there's a lot of characters, so there's a lot to really sit there and process, but I gotta sit there and say, sometimes they make the little moments work. They make the little moments worth wanting to get to know these characters. So yes, definitely watch the first episode. Definitely watch the second episode. I gotta sit there and I can't stress this enough. If you weren't particularly happy with the first episode, watch the second episode, because I have to sit there and say they do the stuff that they didn't do right in the first episode. They handle it a lot better in the second episode. And if this isn't your type of show, that's fine. The show isn't for everyone, just like any show isn't for anyone. So, yeah, I'm just gonna wrap this up, and yeah, I don't know. I'm just not just still thinking like I'm impressed. So that's gonna do it for this recap of Emmanuel. The Council of Dads. This is gonna wrap it up for the Council of Dads. Is so sad because I was sitting there thinking of just say this right, and I just that up. And since I haven't learned how to edit, I'm just gonna leave the shit in there. But definitely watch the Council of Dads. If you didn't like the first episode, give the second episode a try. I gotta sit there and tell you, it's worth it. Now I don't know where the show is gonna go moving forward. When the show ends, I'll do an overview of what I think the show is, because you can have a show be good and then it just sucks. You can have a show start to do bad, and I'll give you an example, just a quick example. So I'm watching, just two shows. Batwoman show was not great in the beginning, and now I'm actually really digging it. I gotta sit there and say I'm really fucking digging it. It's not perfect, but it has its good moments. It's good, And Legends of Tomorrow. This show started off with so much promise. And I don't know what the hell happened. I don't know if they got comfortable. They decided to spice things up. But this show is just fucking trash. So, I'm going to give my overview towards the end of the series. Hopefully it actually doesn't get canceled. And let you know. So, if you like these reviews, let me know. Let me know if you watch this show. Do you like it? What do you not like about it? What do you like about it? And hopefully I can actually learn the names of some of these characters. I won't call them the black guy or the black girl or the Asian girl. So yeah, have a good day or good night depending on when you're watching this video. And I will see you in the next one.